So far, looks good.
Looks good for once.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they added in a bunch more things to fix that. Wouldn't
Or
that be
whatever, it
great?
was a glitch, and when they updated it, yeah.
So we're still looking good.
Yeah.
We're not doing the typewriter thing.
No.
Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. I don't know where that phrase even came from. Somewhere. But anyway, so we're live. We're running. All right, guys, it's time to cut. Clutch number 45. I'm sure nobody's here yet.
Will is here.
Will's here.
And Char's here.
Char's here.
Yeah, there's people in here now.
Awesome. That didn't take long. First things first. Two things. Two things I want to talk about before. Three things. Three things I want to talk about before we cut these bad boys. First, it is always more fun doing this after a K-State win. Sorry, Tech fans. We had a freshman go off. It was so much fun to watch. Great game. But I do actually feel bad for Texas Tech. Only reason is because I already lost their starting quarterback. And their backup quarterback, I've actually seen him play. I don't think he's bad. Well, he didn't come out in the second half, and they went to a true freshman as well, but not one they wanted to go to, and a kid that probably needs some development. Hopefully they can get a quarterback back and doesn't tank their whole season. I guess we'll wait and see. He looked good the first drive, then he threw interception and another interception, then, one more interception. That's rough. That's a rough way to go. But, anywho, I'm still happy. Got a victory. It's awesome. Thing number two. When we're done here, of course, as always, we're going to go to Patreon for a little bit. We do have to keep an eyeball on the time because tonight, friends, about 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock some other time zone, 6 o'clock, whatever time zone is 7 o'clock Central to you, we will be on with Warfel for Warfel's Life. We told you we'd do a second stanza on that. That's today. So make sure and check that shit out, right? Oh, Caleb says one moment. Can I keep talking though?
Yes.
Okay. Woohoo! Third thing, get rid of the crock noise from the water fountain. Third thing I want to address is we got to do something really cool. We actually got invited to help judge a project from a middle school where they designed a chamber to move an egg, like a reptile egg, temporarily for like just if it was found somewhere where it couldn't stay, it had to be taken to a laboratory to be put in an incubator, which actually reminded me more of what a shipping container does for us. So we got to help look at that and judge that and see the creativity those kids came up with. Also, they made videos to show their product. So I got to see some of their personality come out in video making, which I thought was great and really, really enjoyed it. So that was awesome. I love when we get to do things like that. Anytime you get a chance, this is just kind of my belief. You know, if you have snakes, you may get to be known as that crazy snake person in your little town or your neighborhood or wherever. You know, if you're in New York City or LA, you probably won't be that crazy snake person because there's other crazy snake people. But, you know, if you get a chance to help with education, like whether it's going to a school, doing a presentation, or whatever it may be, man, I strongly suggest you do it. It puts us in a different light that the media doesn't put us in. It also allows you to connect and share those animals and your passion with animals or for animals with young people who most of which are still malleable. You got, right, I'm trying to think of what radio personality used to say, like, at first I thought it was being mean. He talked about young people and say their heads were full of mush. I'm like, well, that's kind of a jerky thing to say, until I realized what he meant. Mush can be molded. It's still able to learn. As we get older, become adults, it's kind of rocks in there, right? It's hard and it doesn't change, and you really can't. It's much harder to learn something as an adult because we already have our own beliefs. We're already kind of set in our ways. But when you got young kids, man, they're open to learning. So go in there and share that passion with them. And you may take a kid who had that grandparent that's like, no, a good snake's a dead snake. And you may show them a different side, and you may change their opinion, which will change how they teach their kids, and on down that chain. So you got to go do that stuff, man. You just got to do it. I don't have anything else I can say. How many people we got in here, Caleb?
27.
27, good enough for me. We're going to cut these sons of bitches. We don't have a lot today. We only have 3. This is clutch 45. And, I'm trying to remember, this was an orange dream, I think, to a bumblebee. Well, orange dream pastel to a bumblebee. This was a snake that we had trouble with from day one. It got to size fine. Never could get it to pair. We used one of our best males we had for breeding. He would breed a rope. And she gave us 6 eggs, but it was apparent that she did have some struggle with that. This was a snake that she didn't act right after laying. And she'd also crapped on her own head. There was urate on her head. We went to clean her up. It was just kind of an odd thing to see. 3 of the eggs were bad, obviously, from the get-go, and just they weren't fertile. So we only had, 3 really good eggs. 3 of them we really couldn't find vein work in, which usually means you had one side of follicles not functioning, right? So you have one good set of follicles, one meh set of follicles. That's not uncommon in a first-time breeder. This was a first-time snake that's had eggs. She was about 5 years old for us, 6 years old for us. Unfortunately, she was one that we didn't know this at the time. Probably should have never been bred. Not because of anything wrong with the babies, but because after breeding, she never took back to food, and we lost her within about 15 days of laying, which is an insanely quick time after laying to lose a snake. So I don't know if something internally went wrong in that. That is part of the downside of breeding. You're going to have things like that happen on occasion. It sucks. It's never fun, but it's part of it. The more snakes you have, the more frequent it will become. Just numbers game. So we're hoping to get something really cool out of here. I would really like to see a super pastel Orange Dream. Spider can stay at home in this for all I care. It was just because that female had been bred for 2 to 3 years and had never produced. We wanted to use a male that we knew could get the job done to take out some of that doubt. That's why we used a bumblebee. All right, time to choppy. There's a snake right there. That's why you roll these and don't just dive in. Because you want to make sure. I'm just going to pick this up. It's going to be a hell of a lot easier.
Guess who's in?
Who's in?
Warfel.
Oh, well, hey, what's up, man? We just kind of talked about how we're going to be there a little later. That looks pretty nice right there. Mm-hmm. Boop, 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 boop. What are you thinking, Caleb?
I don't know.
Look at the head. There's super pastel in there. I'm pretty confident in that. Do you think the Orange Dream's in there too?
I don't know.
Really light coloration. I think that might be it right there, man. I do. Not 100% certain. We gotta wait till it's out, make sure it colors up fully, give it a shed or two. But that looks pretty dang promising. That's a very, very light colored head. And the white lips makes me think we definitely got... We know one copy of pastel. That head tells me I think I got 2 in there along with the amount of blushing I'm seeing. I just hope that the color holds for that Orange Dream. This one is not like the other one. Oh, this is a... Now that could be an issue right there. We've seen this a couple times this year, so we get to show it, and that is the cord right there. So we may have to move that snake through there. We'll see. Man, oh man. Yeah. So what we'll do, we won't do it on camera because it's live, but looking at that, one of the things I always do is I kind of just like to see, is that tight on there or not? You see how that doesn't want to move much? That's a little concerning. So we'll probably have to manipulate that snake to not be in that cord, just so it doesn't use that cord to cut off circulation and give itself problems. But currently alive. So that's good. Looks good and healthy. This was the egg. Actually, it was that egg I was the most worried about. That one I do not think is the 3-gener, or I guess it'd be say it's a heterozygous and a homozygous together. Although Orange Dream is not really a gene we're lacking for still. And the spider's going to show up at least once, right? So there it is. That's pretty solid too, though. So what do you think of that one, Caleb?
Tough to call in the egg.
These are very tough to call in the egg, and that's because Orange Dream itself is a fairly, there's a lot of variation in that, right? Some of them are really, really bright and really, really nice. Some of them are a little bit more restrained. And on top of that, Orange Dream in a combo like that, especially early on, can act a lot like pastel. you're not going to see a huge difference in the egg. And then 2, you maybe want to, well, am I seeing pastel and orange dream together? So you have to really kind of wait till they're out and really look at those babies. Anything you want to add about this set of babies?
No.
All in all, pretty happy with 3 eggs. Well, with not other than 6 eggs, obviously, but how these 3 eggs turned out, it's going to work pretty well. Is it earth-shattering clutch? No. This was never meant to be an earth-shattering clutch. This was meant to be a clutch to see if that female could actually produce, because she hadn't. And if she wasn't able to produce this year, our plan was to go ahead and part with her. Now, we would have disclosed the struggles we'd had with her producing, because I just feel that's the right thing to do. I don't ever sell an adult and be like, oh yeah, it's great, when it hasn't. I'm going to disclose full information. And that's just me believing in building a long-term customer and not a short-term gain. So that was really the point of this clutch, was, does she stay or does she go? And obviously she had eggs, so that was benefit. We had belief in her until, unfortunately, so this wasn't that kind of clutch. That gives us, if you're keeping a score at home, only 5 clutches left, and one of them only has 1 egg, I believe. The rest of them are pretty solid. And I would say the clutch I'm most excited about that's left is going to be another full scaleless clutch. We're hoping to hit more than 1 scaleless this year, so I'm really stoked about that. Caleb, anything you want to add?
Nope.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. We're going to go to Patreon. On Patreon, we might try to untwist that umbilicus. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.